Which way does a tree fall?
A tree falls the way it leans. Be careful which way you lean.
If you put enough pressure in a direction, whichever that may be, will dictate where things will fall when a breaking point arrives. And the thing here is that it will always arrive. Now for a tree, the wind dictates such currents. However, for you and me, the bending is caused by us directly, by the intentions we have and the decisions they lead to. For how tempting it is to blame our shifts with life's unpredictability, at the end of the day, we know the responsibility ends on the individual. Now, as I see it, this lean happens in two different ways. The first one, the easier to understand, the one we already are very aware of, which is daily habits and the things, actions, habits, all of this that happen with more frequency. So what you do on a day-to-day basis. Now, it's very easy to assume from here that this would be all that matters. After all, it is what you do most days. And they are very impactful. Of course, if you eat a certain way most days, that's what will dictate how you look in a few months, few years from now. If you work out, if you don't, the way you work, all of these things. Unfortunately, as it goes for most things, the devil is in the details. And all of us have experienced and know of people where one mistake, one bad day, one single occurrence allowed for them to spiral down either back to where they were or even worse. Now, a great example of this, if you remember, was the show The Biggest Loser. If you don't, it was a show where they took a bunch of people, very overweight, put them in sort of camp where everything was optimized. The food, there were trainers, no access to none of these temptations that usually would cause problems. What you'd see, the ones that stayed the longest would completely transform their lives, would become completely different people. Well, what you wouldn't see, and what they wouldn't show you, is that once they went back home, most of them, I believe up to 80%, would gain most of what they lost back. So what we see here is that once put in the normal environment, the one that caused such problems, they would allow for one time to turn into two times and to turn into who they were before. And this here shows the second way in which this lean happens, and to me the most important one. And that is, what do we do when temptation comes knocking? Because it will come knocking, and if we just allow it to happen all the time, then this will ensure, and it will mean that we just do the default decision that is kind of given to us, the easy decision. Because everyone can do good when it's easy to do good. Doesn't matter if it's for you, for others. When it's easy and convenient, everyone can do it. But when it's not convenient, and when now you have to go that extra mile and put that extra effort, what do? Because if you never do it when such is the case, that will mean that no change can happen. Because if you think about it, the original example of the tree, for a tree to bend, the wind has to be strong enough. And metaphorically speaking, in this case, it means these moments for you. If one cannot bend when such a moment arrives, it will mean that it will never change. He or she will never change. And it won't, because what we have to realize above all in these moments is that if you allow yourself to just kind of do the default thing, it will just go back to things where they were. But if you don't, and if you actually take a little extra effort, a little second more, and that even though you don't feel like it, it will then become easy again after. The storm will pass and then you go back to your routine as if nothing happened, doing what you should do. But if you don't, in your mind, it's very easy to justify what comes after, because if you can skip once when it's difficult, why won't you skip the next time? Or why won't you do bad the next time? You already did it once, you already kind of broke the promises, quote unquote, that you made to yourself, so why not again? And here is why it's so, for me, that yes, of course, what you do regularly is what will shape you. But for those things to be allowed to continue, you have to be able to, quote unquote, win in these moments of essentially when temptation comes knock. Do it enough, and when the breaking point arrives, you will see it fall where you want. From the outside looking in, it may appear to be magic, as if you got lucky and certain rewards were awarded to you. If you've ever thought this of someone else, keep in mind that luck happens and, to a certain extent, is required. Yet, again, luck will push you the way you are leaning.